The paramedic asked if I had chest pain. Before I could answer, Trevor spoke. He does. He called me. Said he couldn't breathe. I didn't call Trevor. Sir, on a scale of 1 to 10, 8, Trevor said. He told me 8. The paramedic looked at me, waiting. I opened my mouth. Dad, just let them help you, Trevor said. Calm, reassuring, hand on my shoulder. To the paramedic. He gets confused when he's stressed. The ambulance siren, the IV going in, the blood pressure cuff squeezing my arm. I wasn't confused. I was 71. I'd had indigestion, bad shrimp from lunch. I'd called my doctor. Someone else called 911. Someone at the office called him. Or he made sure they did. Trevor was my CFO. Had been for 4 years. 4 years of watching him slowly take over. 4 years of helping. Any history of heart disease? The paramedic asked. Trevor answered, high cholesterol. Doesn't always take his medication. I took my medication. Every morning. Same time. The paramedic made a note. Glanced at Trevor. Not at me. We'll get you checked out, sir, he said to me. But his body language said something else. Like I was a problem Trevor was handling. We pulled up to the ER. Doors opened. Bright lights, cold air, the smell of antiseptic. Trevor jumped out first. Started talking to the intake nurse before they'd even rolled me through. Confident, like he'd rehearsed this. Philip Carson, 71, chest pain, 8 out of 10, history of confusion under stress. I wasn't confused. They wheeled me past registration. Trevor walked alongside, confident, like he'd done this before. A nurse stopped us in the hallway. Are you family? His son, Trevor said. I'm also his emergency contact, and I hold his healthcare directive. I didn't remember signing a healthcare directive. The nurse read from her tablet. Dated last month. Witness, someone named Gerald Fisk. I didn't know anyone named Gerald Fisk. Notary, Westbrook Services. Had never heard that name in my life. The nurse didn't even blink, like she'd seen this script before. They put me in a bed, curtain half open, wires on my chest, monitor beeping, steady rhythm. Trevor sat in the chair beside me, phone out, typing. Beth sat across the curtain line, quiet, eyes down. Trevor, I'm fine, I said. It was just, Dad, the doctor needs to check you. He didn't look up from his phone. You're not fine. You've been under a lot of stress. Too much stress. The stress was him. 4 years as my CFO at Carson Industries, 4 years of watching him slowly position himself, taking calls, attending meetings, making decisions, pushing me out piece by piece, always helping. I want to go home. You collapsed at the office. I didn't collapse. I'd sat down, felt lightheaded. Someone had called 911. I didn't know who. A doctor came in, young, tired-looking, looked at the monitor. Mr. Carson, your vitals are stable. EKG looks normal. Have you been, under unusual stress lately? Trevor answered before I could. He runs a logistics company. 32 years. Won't delegate. Works 12-hour days. At 71, that's taxing, the doctor said. To me, you need to consider stepping back. Your body's telling you something. It's telling me I ate bad shrimp. The doctor smiled, polite, didn't believe me. We'll run some blood work, but I'd recommend stress reduction, maybe transition some responsibilities. Let the next generation take over. Trevor nodded. We've been discussing that. We hadn't been discussing anything. He wasn't treating me. He was approving Trevor. The doctor left. Trevor stood up. I'm going to call Derek. We should handle the paperwork while we're here. What paperwork? The succession documents. Derek's been drafting them. This is a sign, Dad. Your health is more important than the company. More important than anything. He left before I could respond. Door closing with a soft click. I lay there. Monitor beeping. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Smelling antiseptic and fear and something else. Defeat, maybe. My phone was in my jacket. Somewhere. I pressed the call button. A different nurse came in. Everything okay? I need my phone. Your son took your things for safekeeping. Of course he did. Trevor came back 20 minutes later. Derek was with him, my company attorney, for 18 years. He looked uncomfortable. Philip, Derek said, how are you feeling? Like I want to leave. The doctor said you should rest, Trevor said. But while we're here, Derek brought the transition documents, the ones we discussed. We never discussed them. Derek opened his briefcase, pulled out a folder. Legal-size papers, Carson Industries letterhead. These formalize your retirement. Trevor is president and majority owner. You retain an advisory role, non-binding. You'd still get updates, but no operational authority. Trevor pulled the bedside tray over, set the papers in front of me. "We should do this now," he said, "while you're thinking clearly." I looked at the monitor, beeping steady. My heart rate climbed slightly. "I'm not signing anything in a hospital bed. Dad, you just had a health scare. The stress is killing you. Literally. Let me take this off your shoulders." Derek wouldn't meet my eyes. "Philip, it's standard succession planning," he said. "At your age, with your health. There's nothing wrong with my health." "You're in the emergency room," Trevor said, gentle, like explaining to a child. I looked at the papers, saw the language. Advisory capacity, no voting rights, president has sole discretion. Trevor would own everything. "I need to think about it." "There's nothing to think about. You built this company. Now let me run it. You taught me everything. Let me prove it." He handed me a pen. I didn't take it. That pen wasn't for my signature. It was for my surrender. A nurse came in. "Mr. Carson, we need to take you for a CT scan, just to be safe." Trevor stood up, straightened his tie. "We'll be here when you get back, Dad. Take your time. Think about what's best." What's best? For who? As they wheeled me out, I saw Trevor and Derek, heads together, talking quietly. Derek nodding, planning. The CT scan was clean. No stroke, no heart attack, no blood clots. "Stress and indigestion," the ER doctor said. "Nothing serious." Trevor looked disappointed. He hit it fast. But I saw it. They discharged me 2 hours later. Trevor drove me home. Talked the whole way about taking it easy and listening to my body and making smart decisions, about how much he cared, how he was worried. I didn't say much. Watched the road, counted streetlights. When he dropped me off, he hugged me. "Think about what I said, Dad. The paperwork. It's time." I waited until his car disappeared. Then I called Marcus, old friend, business strategist, the guy who'd helped me survive the 2008 crash when half my competitors went under. He'd seen every dirty trick in the book. "Marcus, hypothetically, if someone wanted to push me out of my own company, how would they do it? Who's pushing you out?" "Hypothetically. Philip, it's Trevor, isn't it?" I didn't answer. "They'd start slow, make you doubt yourself, question your memory, your capacity. Then they'd document everything, every mistake, every forgotten detail, every time you repeat yourself, build a case that you're not fit to run the company." He brought documents to the hospital while I was in a hospital bed with my lawyer. Marcus was quiet for a second. "Jesus, Philip, that's aggressive. That's not helping you retire. That's a hostile takeover. What do I do?" "You need to know what he's really after. If he genuinely wants to help you retire, he'll be patient, let you set the timeline. But if he's taking over, he'll rush it. He'll want signatures now. He'll create urgency." "He already is." "Then test him. See how far he'll go." I built Carson Industries from nothing 32 years ago. One delivery truck, a beat-up Ford F-150. I drove it myself. Loaded boxes, unloaded boxes, 12-hour days, 6 days a week, 7 days sometimes. Linda did the books at our kitchen table. Late nights, calculator and ledger. She'd stay up past midnight. We saved every dollar. We grew. 18 trucks now, 2 warehouses, contracts across 4 states, logistics, freight, boring to most people, everything to me. Linda died 2 years ago. Cancer, 8 weeks from diagnosis to funeral. One day she was making coffee in the morning. Next day she wasn't. Trevor, my only son, stepped up after, became CFO. I thought he was helping. Now I knew better. I called Derek back. "I need you to draft transition documents. Make them look real. But don't file anything. Nothing legally binding." "Philip, what are you doing?" "Testing my son. This could backfire. Then I'll know what I'm dealing with." 2 weeks later, the email went out. From my account. Subject, Philip Carson, retirement announcement. Except I didn't write it. Trevor did. From my email. Using language I'd never use. After 32 years of dedicated service, passing the torch, exciting new chapter. Within an hour, my inbox flooded. "Congratulations. You've earned it. Enjoy retirement," Karen called. "Philip, I just saw the email. I had no idea. Are you okay?" "I didn't send it," I said. Silence. "Trevor sent it. From my account." Oh, that's when I knew the freeze had started. He'd changed my password weeks ago. I just didn't know it yet. Derek's office. 3 days after the email. Trevor showed up dressed like he was going to court. Dark suit, serious face. Beth came with him, quiet, supportive. Derek had the documents ready, stack of papers, ownership transfer. Trevor as president and majority owner. Me as advisor, fancy title, no power. Philip, before we sign, you've read everything? Derek said. This is your life's work. I trust you, Derek. Still, you should know exactly what you're signing. I flipped through slowly, saw the trap in legal language, advisory role only, no operational authority. President has full control. Company may be sold at his discretion. Trevor would control everything. I'd be a ghost. Looks good, I said. Trevor relaxed, smiled. Let's sign. I signed my name, Philip, on the wrong papers, on the decoys Derek had printed. Same letterhead, same fonts, same weight. I signed ink on a decoy set, but I never signed the originals. Derek had printed them on the same letterhead, same page numbers, same seals. The real papers stayed blank in Derek's safe, locked, protected. Trevor signed. Beth witnessed. Congratulations, Derek said, to both of you. Trevor shook my hand. I won't let you down, Philip. I know you won't, because I hadn't signed the real documents, because I hadn't signed anything binding, no notarization, no filing, nothing that could hold up legally. Derek kept them in a separate folder. The real documents sat in Derek's safe, unsigned. Monday morning, first day of retirement. I went to the office anyway. Habit, my key didn't work. They'd changed the locks. I knocked. Karen let me in, looked uncomfortable. Trevor said you were retiring, she said. He said it like he'd watched me sign it. I'm consulting. Oh, she walked away fast. My office was empty. My desk, my files, my photos of Linda, gone. I stood in the doorway, staring at the empty space, 32 years, and they'd erased me in a weekend. The walls were bare, the shelves were bare, even the hooks where I'd hung my jacket, empty. We moved you, Trevor said behind me. I didn't hear him come up. Corner space, quieter. I turned around. He was holding a coffee, relaxed, like this was normal. Where are my things? Storage. We'll get them to your new office. When? Soon. He didn't say when. He, didn't offer to help. He just stood there, sipping his coffee, in the doorway of my old office. Better for you, he said. Quieter. He moved into my old office, the one with the view, the one where I'd built everything. Tuesday morning I showed up for the management meeting, the one I used to run. Nobody had told me it was happening. I stood outside the conference room, watching through the glass. Trevor at the head of the table, my table, making a joke, everyone laughing. Through the glass, I heard him call it my company, and nobody corrected him. I turned around, went to my corner office. Wednesday, I tried to call a client. Big account, 15-year relationship. Philip, hi, the client said. I thought you retired. Consulting. Oh, well, Trevor's handling our account now. He's doing great, thanks for everything. Click. I sat there, staring at the phone. 15 years. I'd gone to his daughter's wedding. He'd sent flowers when Linda died. And now I was... Thanks for everything. Past tense, again. Then I called Marcus. He's freezing you out, Marcus said. Classic move. Now get proof. Bank records, client correspondence, corporate filings, everything. I spent the weekend going through everything. Company files, bank statements, client contracts, legal documents. Seeing Linda's handwriting in the old files made it feel personal again. Her notes, her numbers, her voice on paper. Found it first in the corporate filings. Trevor had set up a shell company, Carson Logistics LLC, incorporated 2 months ago. Trevor is president. Different EIN, different bank. Same clients. My clients. He'd been planning this before I even announced retirement. Before the hospital. Before the ambulance. Then I found the transfers. Small amounts. Client payments redirecting to the new company. Nothing illegal. Just organizational. But it wasn't my organization. I pulled up the client list. Patterson Logistics, redirected. Henderson Freight, redirecting. Morrison Supply, pending redirect. Clients I'd worked with for 10, 15, 20 years. Clients who knew my voice, knew Linda. All my clients, the ones I'd signed personally. Trevor was cherry-picking them, moving them to his company, piece by piece, contract by contract. He was building an exit. Once he had control, he'd migrate everything. Leave me with an empty shell. Then he'd shut down Carson Industries, keep the clients, keep the revenue, leave me with nothing. I called a board meeting, emergency session. Me, Trevor, Derek, Karen. Trevor looked annoyed. Philip, what's this about? Ownership. We already handled that. Did we? I put the folder on the table. The real documents. Unsigned. These are the actual transfer documents. I never signed them. Trevor's face went white. What? The papers you signed? Decoys. Derek printed them for me. They have no legal weight. You can't. I can. I'm still the owner. 100%. Every share, every truck, every contract. Beth gasped. Karen looked shocked. Derek stayed quiet. Wouldn't look at either of us. And this, I said, sliding another folder across. Carson Logistics LLC, your shell company. The one you've been redirecting my clients to. I was just stealing. You were stealing. It's not like that. Then what's it like, Trevor? He didn't answer. I pulled out one more document. The healthcare directive. The one he'd told the nurse he held at the hospital. This? My signature. When did I sign this? Trevor's face went white. I didn't, did I? You forged it, so you could make medical decisions for me, so you could speak for me in that ambulance. Derek went pale. Trevor, that's felony territory. He called 911 on me, I said. Made them think I was having a heart attack. Brought you to the hospital with papers ready, while I was in a hospital bed. Beth gasped. You called me old man. You told me to relax. You made me feel invisible in my own company. The company I built with nothing but a truck and Linda's faith in me. And the whole time, you were stealing from me. I was trying to help. Help yourself. I stood up, every-eyed. In the room on me. Effective immediately, you're terminated. No severance. You used company resources for personal gain. Derek will handle the legal side. You can't. I own everything. I can. Trevor stood, furious. This is my career. You should have thought about that before you called your father an old man. He left. Beth followed, crying. Karen stayed in her seat. Philip, I didn't know. I know. Derek nodded. What now? Now I run my company. I looked at Karen. You're acting CFO. Effective immediately. Trevor's accounts are frozen. All signatory authority revoked. You report to me. She nodded, still in shock. And Derek, file an injunction. Trevor can't touch Carson Logistics LLC while we sort this out. Everything he moved needs to come back. Trevor called 2 days later. Dad, we need to talk. We do. I didn't mean, you meant exactly what you did. I thought you wanted to retire. I said I'd think about it. I didn't say hand you the keys to my life's work. I didn't say let you steal from me. It's not like that. The shell company says different. Silence. I'm sorry. Are you sorry you did it? Or sorry you got caught? He didn't answer. Your mom built this company with me, I said. 32 years. She did the books, made the schedules, answered phones when we couldn't afford staff, stayed up until midnight balancing accounts. She believed in this company. In me. In us. She died 2 years ago, and you were going to steal the company she built, the one she sacrificed for. For what? Quick money? An easy exit? A shortcut? I didn't think. That's the problem. You didn't think about her, about me, about what this company means. You saw assets. I saw her handwriting in the ledgers. You saw revenue. I saw her making coffee at 5 a.m. so I could get to work early. You saw an exit strategy. I saw 32 years of our lives. Silence. What happens now? You figure out your own career, and you never come near Carson Industries again. You don't call, you don't email, you don't contact my clients. You're done. Dad. I'm not your dad right now. I'm the CEO you tried to steal from. I hung up. 3 months later, the business is doing better than ever. The clients came back. Trevor had promised things he couldn't deliver. The shell company dissolved. Accounts transferred back. I promoted Karen to CFO. I'm 71. Still running my company, still showing up, still closing deals. If your kids push you to step back before you're ready, watch closely. If they call you old man, that's not love. If someone needs you weak to take your life's work, they were never helping. I tested him. He failed, and I kept what I built. Today, Trevor works at a competitor, mid-level management. I heard he tells people he used to run Carson Industries. Let him. The truth is in the business filings. Beth divorced him 6 months later, said she couldn't trust him. I don't blame her. Karen's doing great as CFO. She asks questions. She listens. She doesn't call me old man. I'm 71, still here, still working, still building, and when I retire, if I retire, it'll be because I decided. Not because someone made me feel small. Not because someone called me old man and expected me to accept it.